Good morning. Yeah, my name's Dr. John Anderson. I'm from the School of City and Regional Planning in Cardiff University, and I'm talking to you today about a joint project that I've done with Chris Taylor in the School of Social Sciences. And it fits into the broad remit of the sessions on art and science, because it's trying to synthesise science, social science and art endeavour through mapping person-place relations. So, art and social science both try to get at the reality of the world. Both try to understand the world in their own ways. And with geography in mind, particularly human geography, both try to understand the relations between people and place. Yet there's so much reality out there. There's so much stuff to know. As David Hockney, the artist, says, there's so much out there you have to find or have to answer the question, what is it I'm excited about? You have to channel your energies in particular ways. And art, social science and science all channel their energies in particular ways. And perhaps we can differentiate between the manner in which they channel their energies through thinking about their philosophies of knowledge, through their theories. Perhaps we can know them. So as we're all aware, science, social science and art all have different philosophies of knowledge, different ontologies, epistemologies, ideologies and methods. And perhaps science, to generalise, would be realist in nature. We can come to know the world if we choose the correct positivist methods to understand it. In this way, the scientist can show me what the world is like, how it really is. And would social science or art be different to that? Well, would it be the same as that? Well, not wholly the same. Social science would perhaps be non-realist in nature or idealist. It would show me how other people experience the world, how the world is like for them. And for artists, again in a non-realistic vein, it might be, I want to show you how I see the world, or the artist might want to show us how they see the world, how it's like for me or for them. So all these different disciplines are motivated by different orientations about what we can come to know. A universal truth, perhaps on one hand, what the world is like, or a personal truth, what the world is like for someone or for me. And this truth may not be universal in the scientific sense, but is likely to be true in a human sense, perhaps on an emotional. Artists and scientists are motivated by different orientations about what we can come to know, and different universal truths, be it on a scientific level or on a personal level. And that personal level might be a very human level form of truth. It might be truth on an emotional level, a universal understanding that we can all somehow understand. And therein lies another difference perhaps between art and science, accessing worlds of emotion. Scientists perhaps think that this lived experience can be summed up with figures and equations. Social scientists may argue that photos and words can better represent the reality of that world. Okay, a quotation from Hockney about how some forms of art perhaps don't get at that human level of experience in the way he would best like them to. So each discipline offers a different take on the world, a projection of the world, a version of it, a map or a theory, if you like. And all these different approaches are often kept apart. Can they be brought together, especially in relation to the environment or humans' particular relationships with the places around them? And the meeting of art and science is not only suggested by the scientists on that documentary, but in Hong Kong there is an art and science museum. I just come back from there over the summer, and it's that quite beautiful, I suppose, baseball mitt designed building there. And it argues that the source of both art and science, regardless of their different philosophies of knowledge, would be the kind of that we can all experience the mysterious, and we're trying to get at that thing just beyond our knowledge. And that is the source of true art and science, as Einstein outlines. But that museum does question what is art on one hand and what is science on the other, still keeping them apart. And indeed, where do art and science meet? And so what we've attempted to do in our project is try to commingle art and science in a little bit stronger way than perhaps it might traditionally have been done. We seek to commingle art and science to record and represent people's interaction with their built environment. This is based on a project where galvanic skin response units were used alongside geographical positioning systems and film recordings to measure biophysical accounts of human interaction with the world. This project takes the lead from the work of artist Christian Nold and his biomapping work. And Nold used a similar equipment that we used in order to get at the psychological arousal, the different stresses, the different stimulus can affect our bodies as we're walking through places. We measured tonic skin conductance, which, as the Encyclopedia of Science Technology outlines, are tonic skin conductance, effectively kind of almost the electromagnetic waves that come off our fingers in the same way that lie detectors measure. And this varies with psychological arousal, rising with activity, mental effort, or especially stress. The amplitude of skin conductance response varies with the subjective impact of the eliciting stimulus, which in turn varies with the intensity of that stimulus, its novelty, unexpectedness, and its meaning, or perhaps symbolic value for that individual. So we used skin conductance indicators in order to try and measure our response to the world around us. If you like, we were trying to measure a relational sensibility, as I've argued elsewhere. We could call it perhaps the emotion that's registered within a human being, but produced through the co-constitution of that human being with the world around us. Christian Noll, the artist who's done some similar work, has documented the same, or tried to explain what they were measuring in the same way. What we're documenting, he says, was not what we would commonly call emotion, but actually a variety of different sensations in relation to the external environment, such as awareness, sensory perception, and perhaps surprise. The result is that by linking galvanic skin response indicators and GPS technology, we can produce a wearer's journey, which becomes viewable as a visual map on a track, or track on a map, whose height indicates the level of physiological arousal at that particular moment. Now, perhaps someone with a healthy scepticism for science and more of a kind of a philosophical leaning towards social science and art, I was slightly dubious that these things would actually work. So when we got this technology, we commissioned outside agency to create this technology for us, and then we set about trying to test it, I suppose. So could we test it in not quite laboratory conditions, but not out there in the physical world? So I strapped it to my fingers and went about my daily work at the office. And this is one response of that.
My normal level. And this was me just normally typing in the office. And then I switched about here onto the internet to look at the cricket score. And I thought to myself at the time, oh, they've got a wicket. If they got a wicket, if they've done something different, I did sense in myself some sort of emotional reaction, some sort of different reaction from normally just typing and thinking. I psychologically, or it had a response, and I'm intrigued to see that although it's a small response, there was a degree of response, a little peak around, well, did a wicket fall?